All right, welcome to another edition of International Soccer Break. I'm your host Sahil. I'm here with Rahi and Bick, who's live from Toronto. But first things first, I want to say a very happy New Year to all the viewers in India. It is New Year, the New Year already over there, and I don't know what you all did last night, but very happy New Year. Best of luck for the new year, and we'll talk all about that shortly.
Yeah. Happy New Year to the boys, to the Indian boys who spent the New Year's in Doha, I believe. So I'm not sure what they got into, but they're firmly in Qatar for the tournament. So hope they had a good night and ready for a big year ahead.
That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. The India football team has arrived in Qatar, getting ready for the Asian Cup. Big deal, right, Bick? It's a big start to the new year.
Oh yeah, it's a huge deal. Yeah, it's massive for them. It's a big year all round. Got some big teams they're playing up against: Australia, Syria, Uzbekistan. It's going to be tough, but it is also very exciting. I want to see how the boys do against some of the big boys in Asia. Really chance for them to test themselves.
Yeah,
we'll see how they perform.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's break down. The roster was just announced a few days ago, so here's what it looks like. And I think for this specifically, the roster, what are some of the things that stand out for you both? So
can we say they took their time with this roster in typical Indian fashion? It arrived a little later than I would have hoped, but it's here. And I think I want to be very clear. It's a new year, new possibilities, new dreams. But we got to start with one thing for all Indian fans. This is not a roster that is going to get you out of the group or that is going to get you a result against any of these teams in the Asia Cup. That's a fact. Not because they didn't take the right players, because we don't have those players just yet.
Yeah.
But I'm actually excited about this roster because I'm excited about some of these young players at every level and to see how they compete against really, really good opposition. We've seen some of these players do well against Kuwait, maybe struggle against Qatar. How do they perform against Australia? When they're going to make mistakes, things are going to happen. They're going to be playing against players that can beat them one-on-one. How do you come back? How do you maintain the mentality throughout the entire game? That's what I'm looking to see. I'm looking to see it at every single level. From defenders, Akash Mishra, I want to see him. 22-year-old, how does he do in this tournament? I want to see players like Changte, like Apuya or Ralte, whatever you want to call them. These young midfielders, I want to see how they do against these good opponents. And at the forward position, I think for me, it's Manbir Singh, a player who showed flashes at times last year. But is that sustainable? I'm excited, Bick, about this roster.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I think, look, there's nothing in there that surprises me. I mean, when you've got 26 players, you take a couple of people for the experience as well. The one thing I did note is that they've taken more forwards than they usually would. And I think that's partly because they don't necessarily know what their best two up front are. And also maybe they're looking for more people to just come off the bench and maybe create something in the last 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, I mean, look, they've taken a couple of players who haven't had a single cap, Deepak Tangri and Vikram Pratap Singh. And obviously you want to take people for the experience. But yeah, like you said, it'll be good to see how these guys do against the big boys, especially in terms of defense and organization. They weren't very well organized against Qatar, and that's the reason they conceded so many goals. So, they'll come up against some really professional and organized teams. So I think I just want to see that. I want to see a bit of fight. And just the boys not give up hope, because it's a big year for football for India.
Yeah, before we get rid of the roster, anything else you guys want to talk about with regard to the specific players? I think what's interesting is the defense in the first game against Australia is going to go up against a Mitchell Duke who's not Erling Haaland by any stretch of the imagination, but this is going to be a tough, number 9 playing against these defenders. And I'm really interested to see how they do against that, because I haven't seen India play against, a player like that in a long time. So I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and the word that Bick used is fight, and I love that, because you're going to get beaten. You're going to concede. You might concede once, you might concede twice, but it doesn't matter, right? How do you then get up again, right? Against players like that, you're going to have moments where they do things that you're not prepared for, that you haven't seen before, and they're going to beat you, right? But what I'd like to see is fight and resiliency. When you're playing an opponent like Australia, how do you then manage the last 30 minutes, right? Even if the last 30 minutes you're down 2-0, 3-0, whatever it is, but you play well enough and you create opportunities and you score a goal, those are wins for me. Moments in games can be wins for these players, particularly, as you said, for the defenders. Because as a defender, the biggest thing is how do you respond to adversity and how do you get back after a mistake for me? And they're going to be mistakes. So fight. I love the word you use, Big fight. I want to see fight, especially in the back.
Yeah, I think, Big, how do you think, because obviously, you know, Australia, I'm just going to talk Australia real quick. You know, they got Harry Suter, who is very good in the World Cup as well. And you have a 39-year-old Sunil Chhetri going up, you know, potentially against him. What do you think is Sunil Chhetri's role in this team? And you brought up the new strikers. I'm wondering, do you think that maybe Stimac is starting a little bit of a shifting of the guard moving forward, and he wants to see how they do against like top level defending?
Yeah, 100%. I think, at the end of the day, you're not going to rely on Sunil Chhetri for too much longer. I mean, he's in great shape, but, it's not this is not a sport for 39 and 40-year-olds unless you're a goalkeeper. So, yeah, I think there's definitely a changing of the guard. And also, at the end of the day, it's good experience, right? Even if you come on for 10 minutes against Australia and India 3-0 or 4-0 down, as a striker, you want to see what the best in Asia looks like. So you definitely want that experience. I don't think, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think they are going to get too many points out of the group. So a lot of it is just about gaining that experience and gaining that confidence that actually you can hold your own against the big boys.
Yeah. So what does success? Okay, let's finish here. So what does success look like? That our Asian Cup is about to start. We're all excited and we're hoping the team surprises us. But for both of you, what does success look like coming out of these 3 games?
I think it's about player identification and sort of player being reassured by the performances of certain players. That's what I'm looking for in this tournament. For example, Bick, you said there are question marks at forward. We don't know who that is. Who's the best player up front? We don't know. We may get some answers this tournament, and I'm hopeful of that. And I really think success for me is about the eye test. It's looking and watching these games and saying, Apuya looks good. Manveer Singh can play. Sandesh Jigan has done the job for moments. I think that's success. I can't put a point total on this because I don't really care, and I'm not certain that they're going to get points. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You, as an India fan, you have to watch these games. You have to watch these games and pick out moments. It's going to be about the feeling you get after watching this team play. It's very subjective in many ways, but it's what we're going to have to hang our hat on. So for me, it's about the players. I'm looking at specific individuals that I'm excited about. And I hope to be even more excited about them after this tournament. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think for me, success would be as long as the direction of travel is good. I want to see improvement game on game. I want to see them exit the tournament with good confidence going forward and the fans excited about, what the future holds. And that will mean strong performances against everyone. Again, fight, not giving up against any of the opposition, even if they're 3-4-0 down. And actually, holding their own against some of these teams. That for me is quite important. But yeah, I'll echo what Rahi said as well. You want to come out of the tournament knowing, okay, this guy's one for the future, whoever that may be.
Success, I think those 2 games against Afghanistan, I mean, this is a build-up. It's the platform from which then you spring into those games against Afghanistan.
I agree with you, but I have a slightly different take than you guys on this. I think there needs to be, Bick alluded to it, game-on-game improvement. And what I mean by that is your opponents get weaker actually in this tournament, game after game. So I do want to see that Syria game. I do want to see India, I want to see a result in that game, frankly. I with a draw in that game or something of that sort, I do want to see that because I'm not expecting the Australia game to be anything, any points out of that one. Uzbekistan, okay, you're getting a little closer, but that last game, as the team has played through the tournament, I do want to see something in that. So that's
definitely take that.
Sorry,
I'll definitely take that, but my expectations aren't that high, and I think you go into these things with low expectations, and you're never disappointed, right?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
that's the way, you know.
Yeah,
that would be a resounding success to do
Yeah.
that. I think that would be massive. And what a way to
Yeah.
end the tournament, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, we're all excited. We're about 12 days away. So we'll be coming to you, and you know, we'll be watching and then excited to do that. So any final thoughts before we let everyone out there enjoy the new year?
This is the most excited I've been about Indian football in my lifetime. This is because of what we've seen in the last year. And now you have this massive competition. And I think we have a manager that hesitantly, I'm cautiously optimistic about. This is a big, big year for Indian football. And it starts with the big, big tournament. Guys, I'm excited. That's all. That's my New Year's message. I can't wait for next year.
Yeah, I'll just echo what Rai said there, man. It's a huge year for Indian football. Hopefully, we give a good performance in the Asia Cup and then take it on from there and qualify for the next stage of the World Cup qualifiers. But I think it's a big year.
All right. All right, boys. Let's go. Let's go, India. Make the nation proud, and start things off in the new year on the right foot. So we'll leave you with that. And as I always say on this, Happy New Year and Chuck the India.